we have to take undefeated. We weren't live that whole time, Curtis.
Curtis, are you telling us? Curtis, are you telling us? Curtis, Curtis,
nah.
Curtis,
I thought
Curtis.
we were on live, and I swear that was on me. I swear to God, man, I could not believe that we were not live this entire time.
You know why Curtis did this? Because
sorry,
he knows my Colorado Buffalo victory lap is coming up. He didn't want me to celebrate.
You know what, Cole? Just to punish Curtis, we're going to start with that Colorado victory lap. Go ahead and talk about it, man.
Hey, listen, man, you know what it is. I told him. I told Q, and I told Curtis that they need to believe, because I knew what my eyes was telling me. You know what I'm saying? I knew we was going to make a bowl game. I knew we was going to make a bowl game this year, but I had no idea. We might win the whole Big 12, man. It's a good year.
Using the word "we" for Colorado is crazy.
I'm just telling you,
crazy.
Man.
Who was the starting quarterback for the Colorado Bus before Shedeur Sanders?
It don't matter, because you know who's starting right now? Shedeur Sanders.
Who's his backup?
It don't matter. He ain't played for the Cleveland Browns.
He might.
I doubt it.
What if Shedeur backup come in there and is like nice?
He ain't never gonna come in there.
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, like, who is this backup though? Like, can we get that information on the screen? But how Colorado beat a solid unranked 5-2 Cincinnati team. They beat them pretty handedly. You look at the rest of their schedule, and I don't believe there's a ranked team on that schedule after this, right?
I think there's no ranked team the rest of the way. The only ranked team they would play is if they make the Big 12 championship game, they would play BYU.
If BYU survives,
assuming BYU is going to survive up until that point.
Yeah, because I don't believe Utah is ranked. Are they over 500?
I think they're over 500.
Let me look at the Big 12 standings. Curtis, can you come on screen?
Sure can.
All right, Curtis. So what do you think about Colorado, man? Like, how have your opinions evolved about Colorado over this season?
Yeah, let's hear your thoughts, Curtis. You got any thoughts you'd like to share?
Why are you saying? Why are you putting so much emphasis on thoughts? Just say thoughts like a regular person. Just say thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts, man. Let's hear them.
I'll admit I was wrong about them. I thought they would be around like a 5-win team, but they look good. I can't hate on that. Shedeur is probably the best quarterback in his draft class, but that's not saying much. I think the defense looks improved. The offense looks explosive. I would like to see a little bit more balance in the run game, but they're a good team. I expect them to be in a bowl game. Now, if they win the Big 12, interesting to see who they match up with, because it all depends on matchups. Because if they match up with a team that they don't match up well with, could be bad. But I applaud the Colorado Buffs for being bowl eligible this year.
Winning the Big 12 is going to be a difficult thing for them because, just getting to the conference championship game is going to be difficult because Kansas State is in front of them. And there is a conversation we need to have. Colorado has improved. They are a much better team than they were last year. Also, their conference situation is much more friendly than it was last year to them. Like,
they're not in the Pac-12 anymore, so they're fine.
I mean, the Big 12 is such a downgrade this year from what the Pac-12 was last year. Like, it's a significant drop in quality of play. I mean, there's no Oregon or USC with Caleb Williams or any kind of like elite team in the Big 12 this year. Maybe you can make the argument for BYU, but we all know we waiting on BYU to lose to somebody. Like, that's the big, and they don't even play BYU in the regular season this year, right? So that's the one caveat that comes with this, is that they have played well against the ranked teams on their schedule. You have to give them credit for that, except for Nebraska. But it is a two-pronged conversation. Colorado has improved. They do look much better. The Big 12 is significantly, by a large margin this year, the worst Power 4 conference in the country. Like, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that statement.
No, I mean, two things can be true at the same time, right? Colorado can also be a significantly better team this year, and they could also be playing in a significantly worse conference than they were last year. I think
So,
both of those things could be true at the same
what
time.
do you think their record is if they play in a stronger conference, though? Do you think they're a 500 team, or do you think they hold the 6-2?
I don't think that. I mean, I guess it would depend on what conference. Because I mean, we've seen them play against Nebraska, who's in the Big Ten, and that didn't really go well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if they played in the Big Ten, you're talking about them being 500 is will probably be a pretty good season for them in the Big Ten. If I'm being completely honest, obviously we would know what happened if they played the SEC. Well, nah, we know what happened if they played the SEC. Like that wouldn't go well. That wouldn't go well for them.
See, because the Big Ten has Indiana, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State. Those are their top 4 ranked teams, I believe. And then you look at the SEC. Well, let's look at the ACC first. I think that's a more fair comp. You got Clemson, Miami, and then like a surprisingly good SMU team coming up from the American.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia Tech's okay. And then like you got like the Pitt. I think Pitt's pretty good this year too. I don't know what they're ranked right now, but they're much better than anticipated. And then you got like the Syracuse's, Georgia Tech's, Louisville's of the world. I think probably they like Colorado, which would be an upgrade from where they were before Deion. They fall in that like Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest class of like, hey, they're not that bad. Like they're not an easy dub in a stronger conference. I wonder how to project the Big 12 this year. Like Curtis, do you look at the Big 12 this year just from a pure projection standpoint when we're talking about some of the prospects coming from the Big 12? I wonder if the conversations around this is we're talking about him as a power 4 prospect, or are we going to talk about him kind of like how you kind of got to talk about somebody coming out the American where you're like, you worried about like some things translating because he wasn't playing at the highest level of college football.
I mean, when you look back at when he played in the Pac-12 last year, which was a lot difficult for Colorado, I mean, there were some things that stood out. But since he's playing in a little bit of a weaker conference, it's kind of tough to tell. But the throws that he's making, those are throws that you usually see anybody. Well, not anybody, but someone who's in a D1. I would say D1 athlete, but anyone of his caliber can make. So.
It's such a shame that like he couldn't be this version. Like, I want to put this correctly so I don't get misinterpreted. You have to factor in that he got better over the summer, right? And I think that is why he looks better in the Big 12 than in the Pac-12. Not just like, oh, the Big 12 is much worse, but also like I would love to see what this version of him would look like in a stronger conference, so I can have a better guess on like, okay, when the athleticism is not, when he can't not rely on athleticism because he doesn't really do that, but when he's not athletic enough to escape from certain edge players at Power 5 conferences, what does he do to adjust to that? Like I just want to see him be forced into some of these situations where he has to adapt, just so I can see how does he adapt and can he maintain this quality of play while also changing some things that he needs to adjust because of the athletes around him.
Yeah, something similar to that because, you look at last year, when I look at the receiver room from last year, he had Travis Hunter, he had Jimmy Horn Jr. This year, they added LaJohntay Webster and Will Shepherd. And when Hunter went down, I think it was against Arizona, I think other guys stepped up and Shedeur really didn't fold. And the same thing goes for what happened against Kansas State. He looked really good when Travis Hunter went down. So I'm like, yeah,
I just Travis Hunter, like 4 of them wide receivers went down in that game.
Yeah, and he looked good. He looked really good. So, I still think he's probably the best quarterback in this class. He's probably the only quarterback that I would comfortably take in the first round. Honestly, I don't trust Cam Ward at all. I don't trust Quinn Ewers, and I damn sure don't trust Carson Beck. I used to, not anymore. But he's probably the best quarterback in this class, in this draft class. But this QB class itself is just not strong. It's just he's the only guy I would take in the first round. Everyone else is
where in the first round?
Probably saying top 10-ish. Top 2 maybe seems like a bit of a reach, but I've seen teams do desperate things with their quarterbacks all the time. So if he goes top 2, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
I would say if you think you go top 10, you might as well take him in the top 2. I don't see much of a difference there. Like, because you're taking him in the top 10, you're saying he could be a franchise quarterback. And franchise quarterback gonna be worth any pick in the draft you take it at. What about you, Cole?
I mean, where the Browns picking right now? 8th? I think they're 8th in the draft order currently.
The Browns' position is probably going to change.
Yeah, it's probably going to change. I'm just going based off what they're. I'm just going based off what they're at right now. They got the 8th pick in the draft. If the draft was today, I would take Shedeur 8. Like I'd take him there if he was there.
But like, just where in the draft are you? Like, is there anywhere in the draft you're uncomfortable taking him?
Honestly, in this draft, no. Like I would take him wherever I was at. To be completely honest, in the first round, I'd just take him.
That's interesting. Because I just don't feel the same way when I watch him. Like I just don't feel that way about him. Maybe I'm early, maybe I'm late. I don't know. We'll find out once we get to draft season. But I keep watching him. I'm like, I see what like y'all like about him. I just can't get myself to be like, I think it's gonna work in the NFL for whatever reason. Just from like a pure talent standpoint, like not even factoring all the other bullshit that may or may not come with them. But Shedeur playing well for sure. I want to see him get to play some big time college football. That's at the very least, right? Some Big 12 championship games, some big time postseason games. Would love to see that. But before we talk about more college football, let's talk about a legend in the college football world and a legend in his own right in the professional football world. Mr. J. Boo wins 5. Back at it again. Yes. Jameis Winston. Look, the most unpredictable thing to have ever happened was Jameis Winston immediately stepping in, throwing 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. This was so predictable, but yet unpredictable at the same time. Like everybody knew that there was a good chance that this wild shit could happen if Jameis Winston got his hands on the starting offense of the Cleveland Browns. And then you see it, and it was the full Jameis Winston experience. We've talked about it on the show. We have not sugarcoated what Jameis Winston is and is not. What Jameis Winston will do is throw that thing downfield and give all 22 players on the field a chance to make a play. That is who Jameis Winston is. And what did we see, Cole, on Sunday?
Throwing that rock, man. Throwing that rock.
That rock and giving 22 guys a chance to be great. Okay.
Hey, man. Everybody involved was mad that they couldn't do more when Jameis was out. Everybody involved was mad they couldn't do more when Jameis was out there. The offense and defense.
Everybody. Like, man, everybody talking. Look, when Jameis finished that drive, there's somebody on the iPad on some sideline being like, damn, I should have had that one. Like, it's just which way does the wind blow? Like,
hey, man, I can't even lie. On some of those passes on the TV view, they looked like just horrible Jameis decisions. When you rewatch it the second time, a lot of times I was like, oh, damn, I see what Jameis was trying to do there.
No, this is the thing about Jameis that people get so wrong. I talk about this all the time. Jameis is a football genius, right? Like, that was the thing about Jameis coming out of Florida. This is a guy who won the Heisman Trophy Award at 19 years old, and he's not like, think about every person who's ever won the Heisman Trophy Award at 19. They're usually like the greatest athlete you've ever seen. Jameis Winston won that award at 19, and he is Jameis Winston. He is not a great athlete. He runs like a 5 40. He wasn't wowing us with his athletic ability. It's just this dude sees the football field in a much different way than most people do. So when you watch it on broadcast, you're like, what the hell was he thinking? But then when you get that all 22, you're like, I can't believe he saw that and made that decision. That is a wild choice to make. And the only thing with Jameis is that he just doesn't have the consistency with his arm talent to be able to make those throws all the time. But if he did, he'd be one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in our life. Like, that's the thing with him. I think I comped him on, like, he's football J.R. Smith. Because, like, J.R. Smith tries shit that not a normal role player can try. And J.R. Smith is a role player or a bench guy who does stuff that no other bench guy could do in his prime. It's also he's capable of making decisions that no other bench player or starting player would ever make at the same time. Like, you are, as much as J.R. Smith will give you that game 7 third quarter when he's smacking threes left and right against the Warriors, he's also going to be the dude who forgets that, like, you got to call timeout to reset the ball at the last part of this game after you get a rebound. Like, we're going to get both. Like,
it's just so, and even getting away from Jameis a little bit, because we knew what Jameis was. Like, we knew what Jameis can do. Everybody knows what Jameis can do. He gonna throw for 300 yards. He gonna throw for 3 touchdowns. Probably should have thrown at least 2 picks. You know what I'm saying? Probably should have thrown at least 2 picks, but he didn't because they can't catch, and that's fine.
To be fair, Lamar should have thrown just as many picks in that game as well.
Literally, I've been saying this since the game happened. People are like, oh, he didn't play that well. He almost threw. I was like, man, Lamar should have threw 4 picks in that first half alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally.
And look,
he should have thrown
football
like 4.
players don't get judged on what should have happened. If that was the case, then Deshaun Watson would have been his dislike, because he should have had like 4,000 yards at this point or whatever it is, right? But he didn't. Like, you get judged on what happens. That's just how this works.
Like, I don't care about the almost interceptions. They didn't catch them. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It is what it is.
Now, when you throw it, we talk about, what would have happened if you didn't throw that interception. But hey, man, if you don't catch that shit, it don't happen. Like,
take that up with Kyle Hamilton. Ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? But watching him, I'm like, yo, this is what the offense could have looked like all year.
The crazy thing is, because I watched like 3 years of Jameis tape while I was waiting for this to happen. This ain't even like a great Jameis game. Like, this is all the good spectrum of what Jameis Winston can offer. And there's certainly going to be a game where he throws 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Like, that's going to happen. But like, Jameis is capable. Like, I think he's done it with 2 games back to back, 450 yards passing. Like, this wasn't even him like playing like an incredible game. This was just like, this is a normal Jameis game. Just stuff kind of went his way. And the offense looked this better. Even if he would have thrown those interceptions, Cole, they looked way better. Like, way better.
Hey, no, were you on the timeline where people were like, oh my God, y'all getting so hyped up about 6 points? I was like, dog, this is the best.
I peaked at halftime.
We've got all year.
I peaked at halftime. I saw people talking about this 6 points. I'm like, this is why you wait to get your duck-ons until after the game. Because I was like, it was clear to me that they were going to score more than 6 points for the rest of this game. Once they came out, it had 2-3 scoring drives out of 5 possessions. I was like, they've never hit that level of scoring percentage all season. It was clear to me, like, okay, they're moving this ball. Like, the touchdowns are just a matter of time. But people started, no, they only got 6 points. It looked really bad by the end of the game. And by the way, I saw some of those people who were adding you, talking about it's 6 points, also being like, well, we knew this was going to happen. We're Jameis fans now. And I'm just like, the shamelessness.
So shameless. So shameless. It's so shameless.
I'm like, you were just at his neck for talking about how the offense was better, and now you're like, yeah, man, I'm a Jameis fan too. Okay, sure. Okay. That's what it is.
I see you. It's cool. I see you.
You just worked. Okay, cool. So, anyways, I think this Jameis thing is going to be fascinating because there's also another element here, Cole, of Jameis Winston. We're old enough to remember Jameis Winston like the really good college football player and the prospect, but we also lived through the transformation of Jameis, going into different versions of who he is. And I just need people to remember how hilarious this man can be. I got a couple clips we gonna watch real quick.
In fact, take that back. I don't remember
his teammates talking about playing with
game speech.
New Orleans.
Saints.
New Orleans.
Yeah. We getting them done. We eating them done.
Oh, you was there? You was there for that?
Yeah. I'm the meme. Just looking at him like.
I looked. I said, what the? I was like, dog, what is you doing? And I remember Cam Brate said,
tight end.
Yeah, he said, come on, Drew, that's our quarterback. I said, man, shut up. I don't care about that. What you talking about? Why is he doing that? Which is the crazy part is,
G.
Quan was supposed to give the speech. Jameis
Alexander.
pushed him out the way. I got it, Quan. Hold on.
G,
Then he did that. I was like,
what was going through your mind? G?
bro, what is he on?
What was going through your
Bro,
mind?
it gets. The thing is, since this is where we at. I'm glad not playing no more because we can just tell how it is.
We can just talk.
We got in the locker room.
G,
It got worse.
G, it did.
Oh, it got worse.
Yeah, it did.
Right before we ran on the field, he was like, "Hey, this is one of them games. Sometimes you guys just pull it out, show them whose is bigger." Right before.
Stop.
Yes.
Oh, man. No. Nah, man. That's my franchise quarterback.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes you just gotta go ahead
Hey.
and show who's the speaker. Oh man. That's I still rather have that than what we had before.
No, I'm not saying this in an effect to shame Jameis Winston. Look, I'm just telling y'all there are so many sides to this man because also they kind of talk about something else at
We
this
weren't
clip.
ran on the field. I'm not lying. Am I lying?
Let me try to get to
Yo,
that.
no, you ain't
So that
lying.
whole day, people, all y'all know is to eat the W. Y'all don't know that. Oh, Jameis, what did you on? Jameis was on one.
I seen it.
But it's
So
all-
that was the same game?
Bro,
He did a rap.
pregame
Yeah.
shit, bro. And
I remember
he was
that.
like, repeat after me.
But he comes up with these things because he really is a natural born. Like Jameis, I love Jameis so much, bro. In COVID year, Jameis was the
This is crazy though.
Bro,
No,
nah, you
seriously.
don't understand, bro.
we had a personal graduation for my son because they wasn't having them in COVID year. Jameis gave the speech at my son's personal graduation. So our family, we love Jameis to death. But
See, this is the duality of Jameis Winston right here. This is the duality of it. This is why he's been allowed to kick it like he has, because it's like, hey, man, Jameis will say some crazy shit. But also, Jameis will be out there preparing a speech for your child's individual graduation ceremony. And I promise you, he took it serious. Like
Oh, you know he hours
know
of
he-
preparation. Hours of
Yes.
preparation.
yes, like this is why these dudes love him. Like,
Oh man, that's a the duality of man is crazy.
yeah. Well, it's like when people see the eccentric stuff of Jameis and they're like, how do his teammates not get tired of it? It's because it's just genuinely who he is, right? And you just give somebody more respect when they're like, this is just who they are, man. Like, this is kind of just Jameis. Like
It was just I said this to somebody. You could feel the energy of the team was just so completely different the entirety of the game. Like it really looked like last year when they were like, "Hey man, it 100%." It looked like last year, dog. It looked like last year.
it
Guys
didn't
were
feel like
fighting.
none of them games for the first half of the season, man. Like
like none of it. Like everybody was fighting. Everybody was doing everything that they could to try to win the game. You see guys celebrating. Jerry Jeudy ain't been that happy all year. Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and Cedric Tillman.
Elijah Moore was so damn happy he started catching passes with one hand. I've seen him struggle to do it with both.
Like I've never seen them that engaged.
Yes.
And just like the effort level of them running their routes and trying to get open and to be able to catch the football. It's been at a level it hasn't been at all season, bro. You could see it. You can see
Andrew
it.
Hawkins makes a great point about this when he talks about like why he didn't buy Johnny Manziel when he played. It's because he knew Johnny Manziel was going to give you a chance, right? Like whether it's what the coach is supposed to do or not, you know when you running a route, hey, ain't no decoys. Johnny might throw that shit. Like that's just what it is. And that is the belief that they have out there. Everybody running around knows you could be on the backside. Jameis might work back to you and throw that shit to you, right? Like you gotta be ready. The ball is, what does it say? Like people make this point about like when like a player ball hogs, the ball has energy, right? When everybody has a belief that they could get the ball and they can score, the energy that the team has in basketball, it's palpable. You can see it. This is the football version of that. Everybody on that field has a belief that the ball could come to them, and they ain't even got to be open. Like that shit could still be coming. Like, and you're gonna have to make a play. And players would rather be in a situation where they have the opportunity to be great versus a situation where they feel like they're being held back because they're not even getting the chance to do anything. And that's the difference with Jameis and Deshaun. Deshaun was afraid to give these guys chances to win. Jameis ain't never seen a passing window that made him flinch. Ain't never seen one. Okay. When he says, I believe I could be one of the best quarterbacks in the world, I believe him because he be throwing out there like he is. Like he believes this whole thing. And yeah, sometimes Jameis gonna float an over route, right? And almost throw a game-sealing interception. But you know what? That same confidence is what allows him to come right back after that and throw a deep cross, right? For a touchdown out of nowhere, right? And I think that's also something we have to talk about with Ken Dorsey being in there as the play caller. I brought this up a bunch of times. Like, I think people were misunderstanding why he was made the play caller. You wanted to have a play caller with the same kind of ideology as your quarterback. Ken Dorsey does not like to be conservative. Ken Dorsey likes to push that ball downfield. He is much less conservative as a play caller or as an offensive coordinator than Kevin Stefanski is. Jameis Winston, we know he ain't going to throw the check down. Like, well, Jameis Winston will throw the check down. Let me be clear on that. He will throw it. But Jameis ain't going to be captain check down. Jameis going to be captain intermediate pass. Right? I think the stat was out there that he almost like had more intermediate pass completions than Deshaun Watson the whole season in the one game and one drive that he's had so far.
I think passes over 20 yards. It's either passes over 20 yards or passes over 15 yards. Deshaun has 9 for the season. Jameis had 8 in that game.
Yeah, and then he had 7 pass attempts in intermediate in that one drive. Like, this is 3 pass completions there. So like he's already overwhelmed where Deshaun was. Deshaun was throwing 65% of his passes at the line of scrimmage, within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage or behind it. He was not aggressive. He was very timid as a passer in 2024. Now, Deshaun used to be aggressive, but like post suspension, he ain't been that dude. Like, he's not been an aggressive passer at all. He's even talked about it. He says he's more conservative. You can listen to his podcast if you don't believe me, right? You think I'm making shit up about him. This is what he says. So, like, so this is who Deshaun Watson has been. And that has an effect on people. When you know you running a route and it's 10 yards downfield, you're like, man, this shit ain't coming to me. You ain't even checking for the ball. Now, all of a sudden, look, I ain't even got to be open. I'm checking. It might come. Shit might come.
There was a stat, and I have to find it about Cedric Tillman. But he's played 22 games with Deshaun?
This one is, I would say that stat is kind of unfair because he's only been on the starting lineup for like 3 weeks since we traded Amari Cooper. But I get the sentiment. I get the sentiment.
It was like less than 10 yards or something like that. And then in the last 5 quarters, he's had over 180 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, not even Joe Flacco was able to get this out of Cedric Tillman.
All I'm saying is this, bro. It's obvious to anybody with eyes what the problem was. I genuinely don't understand how people can see that. Here's another stat for you. Deshaun Watson in 19 starts with Cleveland Browns has never thrown for 300 yards. Never thrown for 300 yards. 19 starts with Cleveland Browns.
He came close only one time versus Tennessee, I think, too.
7 games with Joe Flacco and now Jameis Winston. They have thrown for over 300 yards 6 times.
Yeah, man, it's almost like the coaching staff was never the problem.
It's almost like, also another stat, since we're throwing stats out there, and I like doing that. People were saying that the offensive line is It's, oh, they handled this so much better this time around. They were playing better than they played all year. Well, that's actually like not true at all, because Jameis's time to throw was 2.44 seconds. That is the quickest time to throw for a Cleveland Browns quarterback all season.
And even if his time to throw wasn't quick, and the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand, right? And this is when I get into the don't read football, watch it crowd debate. Look at where Jameis is in. Look at where Jameis is standing in the pocket all the time. He's either up or stepping up or staying still. That clearly helps your offensive lineman. Like when they know, okay, Jameis is going to be here, I can get back to here, I better not let him release inside because this is where Jameis is going to be. Now, if you're Jed Wills and you got to guess where everybody's going to be, and we know Jed Wills, horrible improviser, you're going to look awful when the quarterback's never where you guessed him to be. It's just such a harder thing to do. And this brings me to another point that I want to add on to top of what you just said, Cole. Sacks tend to follow the quarterback, not really the offensive line. Like Baker Mayfield, you look at his whole career, he's always somewhere in the top 10 of sacks taken. Deshaun Watson, you look at his whole career, he's always in the top 10 of sacks taken. Even in years where he doesn't play a full season, which is fucking spectacular. He took 33 sacks this year. I think I had a target for him this season, like stay under 45. Like these things, it doesn't surprise me that these numbers skyrocketed this year when it looked like he had an athletic fall off. So, yeah. Was the offensive line not great while Deshaun Watson was out there? I agree with people when they say that. It was not great. But you know what else I've said from the beginning? He's making it worse. Like, he's not helping himself. He's making these problems much worse. Like, Deshaun Watson was accelerating every issue that you had with this Browns offense because he can't play in structure, because he can't throw on time, and throwing quickly and throwing on time, two different things. We saw it this week. Jameis didn't always get the ball out quick, but that shit always felt on time. Even the incomplete passes or the passes that were almost intercepted, this shit came out on time. Like, the accuracy was a question, but the ball was out when it was supposed to. Like, I didn't see Jameis throwing late a lot. I was like, I'm watching this tape, I'm like, damn, man, like it's kind of jarring how often I'm seeing the quarterback just ball out. Okay, the ball out. It's like I almost am afraid to evaluate these quarterbacks in the draft because I'm like, I'm going to be more friendly to them because of what I had to watch this year from number 4. Like, I'm watching Jameis and I'm like, huh?
You great on the curve now?
I'm just used to watching what I have to watch. And I'm watching Jameis Winston. I'm like, oh, wow. How is he even available? And I have to remind myself because he Jameis. Like, he do shit that Jameis do, right? Like, we're not even like what should be eye-opening to a lot of people is that it's not like Jameis is giving you mind-bending quarterback play right now. He's just being competent at times, and it makes this big of a difference. I remember how people were talking about, with Baker Mayfield in there, the Browns would be there. Dude, with a number of quarterbacks in there instead of Deshaun Watson. With Derek Carr in there instead of Deshaun Watson, the Browns would have had like a really good record this year.
Yeah, it's obvious. It should be obvious to anybody who watches the team. And I want to say this because I talk to more people who are just not Browns fans. Even they say, hey, yeah, man, if you would have started Jameis from the beginning of the year, y'all probably still in the playoffs.
This is like the main thing we talked about. So many people want to make this only like about Baker Mayfield. Like, oh yeah, if the Browns would have kept Baker Mayfield. Sure, dog. If we would have kept Jacoby Brissett, we would have been in a better spot. Literally. Like, I don't know why it coalesced so much around Baker Mayfield at the time. Like, no, man, the problem was we weren't even getting competent quarterback play for a huge chunk of this season. And we we went from a team that didn't look capable of beating the New York Giants to a team that just took down the hottest team in football while losing the turnover margin.
Okay, yeah, because they had the fumble, because they got the fumble.
That turned into 7. That turned into 7 points.
That was the only turnover
the Browns played this game at a disadvantage, and they won. Think about that. That's how good this team been the whole time. They beat the guy that we all said last week was a 3-time MVP. And the supporting cast around Jameis was so good that Jameis Winston, who has not started a game since 2022, legitimately outplayed the 2-time MVP, going on a 3rd-time MVP in a game where nobody threw an interception.
What more can you say, bro? What more can you say, dog? like, what are we talking about? What more can you say? There's nothing else to talk about here. There's nothing else to talk about here, bro. There's nothing else to talk about here.
That to me is fascinating. How people it goes to another conversation, Cole. You know how we always talk about how quarterbacks change everything and how the quarterback is the one position in sports that is transformative.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty common conversation we have, and it's for good reason, right? We've seen quarterbacks like CJ Stroud step into a situation and change
Daniels
it.
this year.
Jaden Daniels this year.
Even Caleb Williams, and I hate to say it, but Bo Nix is 5-3.
All right, we ain't gonna go that far.
I'm just saying. We gotta acknowledge it. We gotta acknowledge it.
Curtis, come in. Tag. We gotta tag Cole out for about 10 minutes after that. Time out for Cole.
What? I get a timeout? Is Bo Nix not 5-3?
We just said CJ Stroud. You talking about Jaden Daniels? Okay, and then you gonna throw Bo Nix in there?
Is he not 5-3?
Are they 5-3 because of Bo Nix?
Or are they 5-3 in spite of him?
Listen, he 5-3.
Come on, Cole. That was egregious. I don't know why you can't admit that this was egregious.
He's 5-3. He went in.
In what world do you put him and CJ Stroud in the same sentence?
Listen, I said
you wasn't even doing that when they was both playing college.
I'm just saying this. I said Jaden. I said Caleb. And I had to mention Bo because he's also winning.
Well, you did not have to mention Bo.
Nobody
mentioned Bo Nix.
I'm just saying. You got to mention
I think the reaction to you saying Bo Nix tells you everything about you did not have to say it. We would have not have brought it up and been like, oh, Cole, bias. Why are you not bringing up Bo Nix?
I'm just trying
and I find this interesting that Bo Nix is the one Pac-12 quarterback you chose to bring up. We out here giving praise to Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud. Why you had to bring up Bo Nix?
I'm just trying to be fair. That's all.
Wow. Okay.
What are you insinuating? Q?
You put Bo
What are you insinuating?
You put Bo Nix on equal footing with CJ Stroud. You see how they do us. You see how they do us.
Oh, nah.
You see how they do these quarterbacks, man.
I'm they now. That's
yeah. Just like all of a sudden Colorado's we. Okay.
Man.
CJ Stroud almost won MVP in his rookie year. You gonna bring up Bo Nix in the same breath? Oh,
just saying.
Disrespect.
How's it disrespect? What was the Broncos record last year?
Would you be fine if you had to pick a quarterback and you had to flip a coin and it's CJ Stroud on one side and Bo Nix on the other side? You fine with both flips?
Listen, I never said I would be fine with that.
Why are you bringing them up?
Because you were talking about how rookie quarterbacks are changing the team. I'm like,
I said how quarterbacks change the thing.
I'm just saying, dog. I'm just saying, bro.
All right, man. You know what? I had a whole analogy planned. That shit is chalked right now. Go, you just threw Bo Nix in there. Oh my God. But the point I was trying to go for was that we talk all the time about how quarterbacks can be transformative. What we don't talk about enough is when that quarterback is playing bad, how it can also be negatively transformative. And I think we need to talk about this shit more because bad quarterback play, man, it makes you much worse than you actually are. Speaking of much worse than you actually are, let's talk about some teams that need some negativity. First team up the New York Jets. I need this negative. We need that same negativity that we've had to deal with in Cleveland over the last few years. Cope, is this the worst quarterback trade of all time? I mean, at least Deshaun gave you hope in 2023 that he could be better, right? They got torn Achilles. One game on Thursday night is straight to the disappointment.
No, we still got the worst quarterback trade titles. Like we still got that one.
Some may say you might have to question the whole Russ trade thing even harder because, like, Russ looks good in Pittsburgh right now, and that does not bode well for Denver. Like, it's like, oh, you gave up on him and he balled out after he left?
Yeah, man, that's bad.
The Denver one, like, if they weren't, their record kind of saves them from it. But yeah, it's a crowded room. But seriously though, the Jets are 2-6. They just lost to the New England Patriots, who played two quarterbacks in that game. What the fuck is going on with the New York Jets? They fired their coach. It got worse. Usually you get a small artificial bump when you fire your coach and you get like a little fake ass 3-game win streak. They are losing after they fired the coach.
There's something wrong with that team. Like, I remember during the preseason, there was an article out saying that the vibes around the building were like bad. I'm like, makes sense when you have Aaron Rodgers around who's not showing up to OTAs, which is, kind of important, and, not building chemistry with the receivers, which, is kind of important. This stuff is going to happen. Like, this entire team has a bunch of talented individuals, but they don't play like a team. And it seems like every time if I watch them, it's like they're getting worse. The defense that was supposed to be a strength of theirs, it's gotten worse. Maybe if you didn't fire the head coach, which I thought was a dumb move to begin with, you wouldn't be in this situation. But that whole team is just, it's a lot going wrong with that team. Offensively, their O-line has been underperforming. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's 40. The defense is giving up a lot of big plays. They're undisciplined. And it just seems like a team that's just getting worse with no clear, light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a bad team that's poorly coached and poorly ran. That's why I say whenever I see Browns fans complain, I'm like, hey, man, it could be the Jets because the Jets are 10 times worse. And what's even boggling to me is that they traded for Deontay Johnson thinking that was going to fix everything. Like, no, that's not going to fix everything. You're still going to be bad, but, that's my 2 cents about it.
They trade a third or a second for him, right?
I think it was a conditional third that could be a second if Deontay Johnson made an All-Pro and they made it to Super Bowl. But that was never going to happen.
Hey, man, what do you do next year? Like, do you just, play Aaron Rodgers again?
I think he retires.
You think he'll want to retire like this?
I don't think he want to go out like this, dog. He ain't gonna want to go out like this.
I mean, there's no other. He's 40-something now. Like, what you think it's gonna get better?
It's only going to get worse.
I'm just speaking from
that first year coming off an Achilles at 40.
I'm just speaking to who I believe Aaron Rodgers to be. He is going to believe this is not his fault, and that he needs to go to a different team that can surround him with what he needs to be successful. I guarantee you that's how he's going to look at it. I know that's how he's going to look at it. I know it is.
And the answer is no, Browns fans.
No.
Well,
no. He gonna have them in hostage just like he did with the Jets.
No, we're good. We're good.
That man is, remember Vince McMahon reintroduced the NWO in WWE? He's like, I'm introducing poison to kill what I've created. That is literally trading for Aaron Rodgers. He is NWO Hulk Hogan level of toxic at this point. Like, he is Hulk Hogan in WCW. Like, that man is there to just tear it down. Yeah, it was cool. You got a bump from having Aaron Rodgers be associated with your team for a little bit, but now you are just realizing, oh my God, all the problems of having Hulk Hogan on my squad, right? He is tearing this whole thing down. And that's what's going on with Aaron Rodgers right now. He tearing that thing down. They got all them old-ass Packers out there. I bet the young dudes are irritated. Imagine Garrett Wilson. He going to ask for a trade soon. Shout out to the Stefanski Pantry. We'll take him. We'll take him in. You know, Stefanski will do something with that. So, you know, it is a interesting end for this New York Jets team because this is a colossal failure. I mean, this is a team. They're worse than they were last year with Zach Wilson.
How is that possible?
I don't get it.
How is that possible?
Because Aaron Rodgers is a fucking asshole. Like, and he's not good enough to justify it anymore. That's the thing. When Aaron Rodgers was playing like A-Rod, it didn't matter that he was a jerk, right? Like, it wasn't tangible enough because people get over it. You know why? Because he throwing them touchdowns. But the second you stop throwing them touchdowns, it's going to matter that you a jerk and people don't like you. And now you just see it on the field. It's like, all right. Like, okay. And look, they're going to start somebody else. It's going to be just like Jameis. Like, oh, man, they running routes now. Like, because it ain't the A-Rod show anymore. Like, they're tired of it. It's only existed for like 8 games, too. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, man. I can't believe the Jets, dog. I can't believe they got my dog Garrett Wilson out suffering. He ain't really suffering, though, because he's still putting the stats up. But, man.
Yeah, why Cincinnati get him for the cheap? Like, why something ridiculous like that happen? Kansas City sniping in.
Or maybe the Browns, man. Who knows? We got first round picks.
By the way, real quick, let's hit on it. Deontay Johnson traded to the Baltimore Ravens. And I just find that as a fascinating combination of skill sets because the Ravens have 2 problems. One, their wide receivers struggle to get separation. Deontay Johnson does fix that. Deontay Johnson will get separation. The other problem, as we saw on Sunday, the wide receivers struggle to catch the ball. And I don't know if Deontay Johnson solves that problem. like that has the combination to be the most frustrating combo on earth because Deontay gonna get open late, and then we know Lamar, the deep ball is not his best ball, so he might overthrow that shit, or he gets it on purpose, all tight, and then Deontay don't catch it. Like, I can see this going really right for the Ravens. I could also see this being a hilarious combination.
Listen, man. He'll get open, and that's what they need more. You need somebody. You need somebody who at least you can count on to get open.
You say that. Hey, getting open is everything until you don't fucking catch.
Listen,
okay,
listen,
Curtis, who would you rather have? A wide receiver who can get open but can't catch, or a wide receiver who can't get that much separation but sure can't catch? Because I know what I can move the ball with. Can't move the ball with the incompletion, no matter how cool it looks. Like,
that is true. That is true.
And Deontay Johnson is like the peak level. Like, he is the what if Greg Little was a little bit better? Like, that is what Deontay Johnson. Hey, like, what if Greg Little was a great route runner?
Hey, he's a lot better than Greg Little.
I'm saying. Well, no, see, Cole, you forget. Greg Little would always be open. That was not the problem with Greg Little. Greg Little be open 50 yards downfield. He just don't fucking catch nothing, right? Deontay Johnson is nicknamed Deontay Dropson. Like,
who gave him that nickname, though? Who gave him that nickname?
Steeler fans did while he was playing for them.
See, I don't know.
This is a man who had a 2-year touchdown celibacy.
Yeah. the touchdown celibacy is crazy.
Yeah, 2-year pledge of celibacy in the end zone. Like, that's all. That's what he was out. Like, this has the combination to be very effective for the Baltimore Ravens or very hilarious because they got a couple dudes out there that be dribbling footballs.
Look, man, I like it
and
for the Ravens. Though,
Johnson
they didn't even give up nothing. They didn't even give up nothing.
Yeah, I wonder why.
He was trying to get up out of there too. I think the Panthers.
This is the thing, Cole. Every team that
dude.
Yeah, this is also the thing, Cole. Hey, man, I'll be very worried about trading for somebody that everybody who's ever had him is like, here, take him.
Yeah, that's a little strange.
It's a little. The Steelers said, here, take him. We'll replace him with Van Jefferson. And then the Carolina Panthers got him. He was playing well for them, and they said, "Nah, man, just give us a 5th, and we'll give you a 6. Just take him." Like, there has to be a concern there about this.
Hey, look, man.
Like, what does this dude do behind the scene? He must be toxic. Okay, like
the Ravens, like, hey, man, we in the middle of a season. We need something. They can get open.
Think about
take
that.
the chance.
Name me the dude that's been passed around like that so unfavorably that's ever worked out. It's like Kadarius Toney. People still thinking that's going to work. Every team that's ever had him is like, here, take him.
Is he still on the Browns?
Yeah, he on the practice squad.
He still ain't played yet?
No, he's not going to play. The plan was never for Kadarius Toney to play. The plan was for him to be like a special teams, like or a special teams guy potentially, or a scout team player. Let's get him in the building. But yeah, man, that's going to be a potentially hilarious combination. Speaking of hilarious, Jim Harbaugh on the Chargers. I've seen several tweets saying "free my dog" when it comes to Justin Herbert. Jim Harbaugh's success at Michigan. I want to remind people the success at Michigan exclusively happened after Urban Meyer stepped down from Ohio State. Also, in a period of time where Alabama was clearly on a decline. And he won the national championship when the one power, Georgia, didn't make the playoffs. Under questionable reasoning, by the way. But Jim Harbaugh won that national championship. We don't look at any of the context around it, and it rewrote the narrative on who Jim Harbaugh is. But you know what Jim Harbaugh's reputation was before all of this? Man, he don't really be able to seem to bring guys to that next level at the quarterback position. Like, he real great with getting something out of nothing. But boy, when it comes time to, like, when he got the Andrew Luck, when he got the Colin Kaepernick, boy, he struggles to do something with that. And then he brought on the ultimate, I put training wheels on the quarterback, don't put me on a good quarterback offensive coordinator, Greg Roman.
Greg Roman.
By the way, Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator that left Lamar Jackson and allowed Lamar is on track to win his 3rd MVP. Everybody got excited about running this ball, but now we're realizing, hey, running the ball means you're not using your best player. And they got the all-Senior Bowl squad out there. They got Brendan Rice and Ladd McConkey out there running routes for them. And I like Ladd McConkey. But like, Ladd McConkey should be your number 1 wide receiver in the NFL right now. He wasn't even the number 1 wide receiver at Georgia. Like,
oh man.
Are we going to get back to talking about how unserious Jim Harbaugh can be at times? Like, are we just still letting this slide because he won a national championship last year?
All I'm to say is this. They play the Browns on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And if Jim Harbaugh loses to Jameis, we will absolutely be talking about how unserious that is. 100% gonna be talking about how unserious Jim Harbaugh is as head coach if he loses to Jameis on Sunday.
We'll see. We'll see. Jim Harbaugh doesn't have a great record in the state of Ohio. I would like to remind people of that.
Except against Ryan Day.
Yeah, okay. Jim Harbaugh doesn't have a great record against teams in Ohio when he's playing coaches who have accomplished anything. Is that better?
Yeah, a lot better.
Okay. Did we filter out what we need to filter out?
Yeah.
Okay. Amongst coaches who are respected, he doesn't do well in Ohio. And that's including Urban Meyer is in there, dog. Like, that's great. Urban Meyer didn't know who Aaron Donald was. And we like, yeah, clearly more respectable than Ryan Day. But we going to get to Ryan Day in a minute. I saw somebody tweet. It was somebody notable, too. They were like, describe Ryan Day in one sentence. Hit a board on third base, can't get home. I'm like, damn.
Facts.
It's nasty.
Facts.
Damn. That remind me of the Guardians. Bengals.
Why you do that? Why you do that? You know people.
Yeah, I
don't
left
like
a
that.
lot of runners on the bases, dog. Like, that was crazy.
It's okay. It's okay.
I couldn't talk about somebody being left on third base, Cole. Y'all left people on all three of the bases multiple times in multiple series. Like,
It's okay. The Yankees are 0-3.
I can be like, hey, I can say this right now, and you have to ask a qualifier to figure out what I'm talking about. Hey, Cole, remember that time y'all left bases loaded? Y'all left runners on all three bases? Which game am I talking about, Cole?
Oh man.
Can't even tell me.
Oh man.
Well, let's talk about the Bengals, man. Do they just suck? Like, are they just not that good?
Yeah, the Bengals suck.
Are they just? I don't think they suck. Are they just mid this year?
Let me be more specific. The Bengals defense sucks. They're terrible. Like irredeemably bad. And they got a lot of first round picks on their defense too. They are not good at all whatsoever. The offense isn't bad. I think the offense is actually pretty good, but they can't make up. They can't make up for how bad that defense is. Dog.
Hold on now, Cole. Hold on, because like people been rolling with the offense is good for Cincinnati. I would like to remind folks the last 3 weeks, Cincinnati has scored 17 points on offense, 14 points on offense, and 17 points on offense.
Oh, now they're falling off a cliff too. Yeah, they're done. They're done.
Because that offense wasn't lighting up the Browns last week.
No, I'm going to be real with you. If Jameis played against the Bengals, the Browns would have won that game.
Honestly, if the Browns just played any semblance of special teams, they would have even won with Deshaun, DTR, and Jameis all playing in that game. The Browns owe that loss completely to themselves.
With most of their losses, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's been how the season has gone. But yeah, man. So like even this offense, like I remember when people were talking about Joe Burrow if his record were different, which is a hilarious qualifier. If his record were different, people would talk about him as MVP.
His record's not different. His record's not different.
You ever think we'll do that with Lamar Jackson, by the way? You ever think that conversation would be mainstream? If Lamar Jackson's record was different, he would be the MVP. You think that would ever be allowed to fly?
No.
Nope.
He's flying with Joe Burrow. That's kind of crazy to me. But yeah, Joe Burrow in these last 3 games, let's look it up right now. I mean, he hasn't been bad. He just hasn't been like amazing. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, a good amount of yards, but nothing over 300. They might just be mid.
Yeah, I was watching that game against the Eagles around the second half, like late in the, I think it was 3rd or 4th. They just let the Eagles offense do whatever they want. I'm like, hey, man, this is like a disturbing trend. And a lot of Bengals fans are like saying that they need to fire Zach Taylor. I'm like, well, yeah, he's not as good as you think. And it's not just that the team has been underachieving. It's just that I think when it comes to development on the defense side of the ball, it just hasn't happened. I mean, they took Miles Murphy in the first, second round. He hasn't panned out. Their cornerback room hasn't been necessarily the best. I feel like all of their problems, it's more focused on the defense combined with the fact that the coach hasn't been coaching as well as everyone thought he should. And the team is just not that good this year. And I've been trying to tell people that their defense is going to take a step back. But I didn't think they were going to be this bad.
Yeah. 37 points to a Philadelphia team, which, by the way, the Browns really should have beat. I just don't think the Cincinnati's good. I don't think the adjustments they made on the offensive line have worked out.
You know how I know the Bengals are bad? You know how I know they're bad? Because I got some sissy fans I follow on Twitter and they follow me back. They've even told me, it's like, hey man, I'm not gonna lie to you. If Jameis would have started the entire year, the Browns would be better than the Bengals, right? The Browns would be so much better than the Bengals right now.
Absolutely.
I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, that's how you know they bad.
They've only gotten over 50 rushing yards 3 times from an individual running back.
Their running game is bad. It's really bad.
They miss Joe Mixon?
They miss not using Joe Mixon, yeah. It's kind of Zach Taylor though. Like, this is the thing. Joe Mixon was here in Cincinnati. They had the same problems last year. Joe Mixon goes to Houston. He's playing fine. This is on Zach Taylor. It's always been a problem with Zach Taylor. And then he chooses the weirdest times to like start leaning in his run game. Like, he does this shit all the time. Joe Burrow was masking the fact that that man's not a good coach for a while. Now that defense is falling apart. The offense is not consistent. It's never been consistent under Zach Taylor. And now it's being exposed. I've always said, look, if Cincinnati's defense does not play well, they are not the team that gets the back-to-back conference championship games. As much as people made that shit about just exclusively the power of Joe Burrow, like, it was about how good that defense was playing. Just look at the playoff run the first time they got to the conference championship game. It was like exclusively defensive moments for like 3 weeks of that playoff game.
It was literally defensive moments and game-winning field goals.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
That's what's carried Cincinnati. The offense has always been inconsistent, and I think that the offense could be a lot better. The offense could be more consistent, but the problem with the offense right now is that it's just Joe Burrow. It's just Joe Burrow there throwing to Jamar Chase, and that's it. Am I streaming on both channels?
That's the thing we gotta fix, but I'll fix it later. Don't worry about that.
All right. Well, they I guess main channel get a free one today.
Yeah, for now.
We streaming on both channels?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Hey, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
all right. I think that's because of how I entered the stream. I don't think that's your fault, Curtis.
Yeah, but for the Bengals, it's just I look at that team and I'm like, there are a bunch of guys on that team that will not be there next year, and there will be a new head coach there because if I were the Bengals at this point, I would consider firing Zach Taylor. It's something that should have been discussed back in 2022. And it's not really a hot take or controversial. It's just the team has peaked and they're not getting any better. It feels like after they went to the Super Bowl that 1 year, it's just they kind of stayed in that little stagnant area and they didn't really improve. And not to mention the fact when you talk about the fall for their defense, they never replaced the guys that they lost. They figured that maybe if we get, Jordan Battle to replace Jesse Bates, or Dax Hill, similar to that, we'll be fine. But that didn't work out at all. And they never replaced DJ Reader in the interior. Like, their run defense is awful. It's bad. I haven't seen a run defense get this worse in a while. So, that whole team might be different come next year. Joe Burrow might get a decent head coach. T. Higgins won't be back, though.
Time to blow it up.
Nope.
Is it time?
Nope. There's no bombs.
There's no bombs?
There's
no.
Oh, hold on. Wait, let me see. Is it now? Are we getting bombs now?
No,
wow. The bombs have failed me.
About time.
Is it time?
I told you to leave the soundboard alone, bro. I told you to leave that soundboard alone, bro. Leave that soundboard alone, dog.
Oh, you know why it's not working? I'm not on the right one. There we go. Damn.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
There it is.
Boom, 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 boom. Time to blow it up. All right. Cowboys in Miami. I just want to talk about the fact that we talked about this before the year. Hey, man, how useful are super expensive wide receivers? Now, some people may throw the Minnesota Vikings success in my face. I will counter back with a Cowboys in Miami. $90 million worth of wide receiver play. All you've gotten is disappointment.
Speaking of coaches who might get fired, Mike McCarthy, squarely on the hot seat.
Oh, he's done.
Hey, man, is Mike McDaniel on the hot seat?
No.
So I follow someone who's like a Dolphins fan. He said that he should be considering how they looked when Tua went out because their offense looked basically awful. But considering how they played last Sunday, that was a winnable game and they lost. So I don't know, maybe, but
the whole premise of him is that he's supposed to be this genius that can prop up different quarterbacks because he propped up Tua, and then Tua goes out, and now it looks like he really needs Tua.
Yeah, man, I think he's going to be safe just because of all the stuff surrounding Tua being injured in the quarterback position. I don't think they're going to fire him. Big Mike, though?
Yeah, Mike, it's time.
Yeah.
He should have been fired last year.
Mike, yeah, it's time. It's time. He on that bone this year. Tampa Bay has had an interesting turn of event the last 2 weeks. Anybody want to talk about it?
Not gonna
Yeah,
do it.
they came
Not
back
gonna
down
do
to
it.
earth.
Not
They
gonna
came
do
back
it,
down to
man.
earth a little bit.
Did they come back down to earth or?
No. Oh man. Oh
I mean,
man.
I feel like these are fair questions to ask.
Look,
Like,
man. Look, man, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Y'all know how that's gonna go. I don't want to say it. Let's say it.
I'm just gonna point this one out here. In the month of October, somebody has thrown 7 interceptions.
We need to meet the grand.
We gonna act like that's not happening?
We need to meet the grand.
I'm not saying we're
We
gonna
gonna
act
act
like
like-
that's not happening.
We gonna act like that's not happening? My man threw 2 the whole first month of the season. They was making sketches about how much we miss him. And they were right. We missed anybody playing quarterback other than Deshaun Watson at that point of the year. But ever since that sketch, man, 7 interceptions. Don't that feel familiar? Anybody get deja vu?
Have they lost games in a row? I feel like they are they
They
lose
lost.
2 in a row. They lost to
They
Baltimore. They got smacked by. They lost to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm just saying, it is worth paying attention to. You know,
And they played.
hey man, overall his
on
numbers
Monday.
still look pretty good. 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions through 8 games is pretty impressive for Baker.
That's still good.
Like, you can't
That's still
take
good.
that away from him. Yeah. But them interceptions is coming back with the vengeance. Okay. Like them interceptions got something to say about this because 7 in a month is crazy. Like,
Listen. To be fair, you know he's down his 2 best receivers.
so
But
that
man.
explains 2 of those interceptions. Like, what about the other 5? He
I'm
threw
just
3
saying.
versus New Orleans. Like, he had all of them.
Ooh. I forgot about that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He looked like the same guy we know.
We've always said this about Baker Mayfield. It's not that he's not capable of playing good. It's just there's a variance there with Baker. It's always been the case, right? And that variance makes it hard for you to have serious aspirations. Now, if your aspiration is just like, hey, let's be a fun team, make the playoffs, Baker Mayfield's good for you. It's like Jay Cutler. He's the new Jay Cutler. Tell me this is not new Jay Cutler vibes.
Basically.
You get him somebody, you get him a big wide receiver like a Brandon Marshall, that shit's going to be kind of fun. But, like, it's not serious. This is what we have said about Baker for so long. And every time he plays well, the media just takes the bait on it every time because they're like, oh, it's a time to just wedge in that knife for the Cleveland fans. But I'm like, dude, we said it when we got rid of him. He's Jay Cutler.
And it is what it is at this point. It's just funny, like when you start seeing those tweets, like, "Oh, the Browns miss Baker. How you guys are so stupid for letting him go?" And then, like in 3 weeks, you never see those tweets again. It's just funny.
It's always an interesting cycle with Baker Mayfield because he is capable of playing really good football. We've never said that wasn't the case with Baker. It's just, you know, trying to win 4 games in a row against the best competition on earth. Well, that's where you're gonna run into some problems, right? Like that's always been the case. Now Deshaun Watson was brought in to solve that problem. Clearly, epic fail there for the Cleveland Browns. Like just a dramatic no on that one. He did not solve any of those problems. Honestly, he made it worse. Now we're like sitting on Jameis. Who Jameis got the same problem Baker got, right? Like. There's no way I trust Jameis Winston to win 4 games in a row versus the best competition on earth. It's not a shot in the world. I don't trust Jameis Winston past the pass. He's still capable of playing some good football. Like, it's funny to me that they swap teams, but Baker Mayfield and Jameis Winston are essentially very similar. Like, in terms of how they feel as players. Because you could put Jameis in the system right now and he would look good for a couple of years. He'll throw a lot of interceptions, but like you're not gonna have the worst quarterback play in the NFL. He's certainly one of the best 32. It's just, you know, Jameis going to make a critical mistake here, and Can't have that. Like, can't have that.
Oh man. Good old
Like
James,
every
man.
time you watch one of those, like Baker, whether it's Baker or Jameson, this is what I find hilarious about all these conversations. You have the same general thought when they drop back and pass, which is, hey, don't fuck this up. Like, which is like with Deshaun, you pray that he sees it and throws it, right? That's a different struggle and a much worse struggle. With Jameis and Baker, you get nervous when they get like 7 completions in a row because you're like, oh, they're gonna try some crazy shit.
Mm-hmm. So like, oh, here comes the shot of double coverage because he feels like
Somebody said Brett Favre, and I'm like, no, they are not Brett Favre, because Brett Favre was capable of being accurate more consistently. The issue with these two, it's like every person that's tried to be Steph Curry that's not Steph Curry that's entered the league, and you're like, yeah, it's fun with Trae Young making them threes. Like, but when does Trae Young get exhausting? Like on defense? When he not making that shit, right? Because he not Steph. It's like, yeah, you're trying to emulate being Brett Favre, but you're not Brett Favre. You're just gonna have very, very hard time replicating those results. But that's just the life of the quarterback that's like that. I'm happy that Baker got his money. I'm happy that Baker's getting the opportunity. And look, Baker's gonna have a stretch of games here where he's gonna look pretty good again. He's gonna have, a similar stretch to the start of the season at some point this year. But also, Baker gonna throw some interceptions. I don't know why that's so hard to accept.
Hey,
We'll move in. I know.
Okay, but so
we're gonna hit into another subject. So we got Ohio State and the Cavs. Let's talk about Ohio State, Cole, because you can lead that conversation for a little bit. They play Penn State and Indiana. What team are you more afraid of?
Honestly, I feel like Penn State is also pretty unserious. Penn State's a pretty unserious football team, like college football program just in general. Like I feel like they're pretty good most of the time. Like they'll have a winning record. They'll be in it until they play Ohio State, until they play Michigan, until they play teams that are actually like serious in the Big Ten. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm not gonna lie. Chat, you can disagree with me if you want. I'm a little bit worried about Indiana. That's the team that's kind of like, okay. I feel like they're a lot better than people think. They're a lot better than people think, and I think if Curtis Rourke is playing in that game, that's gonna be a rough one for OSU. It's gonna be the roughest game, and I don't think Ryan Day could survive losing to Oregon and losing to Indiana in the same season.
I thought Ohio State's defense played well last week. They were a lot more aggressive, but the offensive line is just a mess, a total mess.
Indiana's really good though, Curtis. Like Indiana's genuinely they're a really good football team, man.
Well, the thing with Indiana is that they're an old team and they're a well-coached team, right? And Curtis Rourke is a really disciplined player. And Ohio State is not a super disciplined team, as we saw with how they lost to Oregon, nor do I believe them to be a well-coached team, which is why I would have serious concerns in that game. Now, is that in Indiana? Well, it doesn't matter because Ohio State fans going to pack it. But that's going to be, I think, the interesting one to watch. Something tells me that, like, I wouldn't just give Ohio State the W over Michigan because, like, this does not feel like an Ohio State team that's above that.
Yeah. I got to see it. They I'll say this. They should beat Michigan. Honestly, they should beat all 3 of these teams. They should.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean I think they're going to.
Now, another thing I want to talk about. Cavs undefeated. And not only are they undefeated, looks like Evan took that leap, y'all.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Evan Mobley, leap year. I saw him in there getting in Cat's grill. Now, Cat got him one time, but they called that foul. so it don't count. It don't count.
No, it was a cat. It was the other big man who
Oh,
dunked
it
on
was
him.
homeboy, the rookie.
Yeah, he dunked on him. He
Yeah.
got him. But he did
yammed on
the
him, but
he did the
he
ward
got the
off.
arm. He did the Blake
He did the
Griffin.
ward.
Yep.
He did the ward off. So they call offensive foul. I was like, "Ooh, we got lucky." I was supposed to be highlighting.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that was gonna be tough. That was gonna be a tough one to explain for Evan Mobley. But really, we do have to talk about the fact that Evan Mobley seems to be like a solid 17, 18 a night, even when he's not being super aggressive, and also absolute menace defensively. He is better than he's ever been defensively.
I think that's the biggest thing. Not even gonna lie. I think that's the biggest thing when you watch Evan. He's always been one of the 10 best defensive players in the league, but
Mhm.
he has been like legitimately do not drive on him.
Yeah.
Like do not test it. Don't drive on
like-
him. Don't test him. Good.
It seems like he has finally gotten confident in his physical, like his ability to be strong, right? Because there were times where he would get into these physical situations and he would kind of shy away from them. Now he's not shying away, like just small shit. Like how many times did he finish trying to dunk against the Knicks?
Yeah.
Like it's that. It's like, okay, he feels like he a grown ass man out here, and he's playing like a grown ass man. And I was watching, I was like, yeah, this team might have legs. Because also what it allows when Evan Mobley's able to score consistently is it takes a lot of pressure off Darius Garland, who did not score a ton of points to start this season. But then all of a sudden he pops out against New York and throws up 30 on amazing efficiency, mind you.
Incredible efficiency, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, oh, this team's a lot more dangerous than last year. Some of the kids have grown up, right? Like the Cavs are starting to show, like you're starting to see the young pieces really grow and mature. And I like what Kenny Atkinson is doing. I like they're able to maintain their defensive edge while doing it. I also like that, they were able to beat Cat. Ain't gonna lie. Beat New York and beat Cat. It's a double whammy. It's a double whammy.
Good? Made you feel good?
Oh, yeah. Especially on a week where not only did the New York Knicks lose, but also the New York Yankees went down 3-0 to a team that employs Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, I'm feeling great.
Said I'm feeling great.
I'm feeling great.
No, it's always great when the Yankees go down 0-3. That's a beautiful
Oh, yeah.
feeling.
Oh, yeah.
It made me feel good.
Especially.
You notice the first year I really started watching the guards. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get behind the guards. Watching New York go down 0-3. I'm like, yeah, that feels good.
That's good. I'm with
That
it.
feels good.
I'm with it. I'm debating now. Should they do they still do the 1, the 2, and then the 3 games at home for the visiting team?
I think so.
All right, so they just gonna have to celebrate this one in New York. I was like, maybe they could bring that one back home to LA. But I guess they just gonna have to celebrate that one at New York.
Not a bad place to celebrate. Not a bad place to celebrate at all.
Hey, shout out to Mookie. Shout out to Shohei. We in there, man.
No, but to get back on the Cavs, like seriously though, I think it's everybody's hyper focused on Evan because he's the one who has to take the quote unquote leap there. I think when you watch him offensively, the biggest issue I have with him still is he still has like stretches of the game where he's not being aggressive offensively. And he's kind of, I don't know if I want to call it, I don't know if I want to say he's being super passive. It feels like he's trying to figure out how to get his shots in the flow of what they're trying to do.
Do you think though, because like I remember the same criticisms being the case with LeBron, and it's like some of these guys who just play well with, like, he's a really good facilitator. He's really good getting the ball to people within the rhythm of the offense. Do you think that's just a natural consequence of him being able to do those things that you like him doing? It's like, okay, he's not always going to be looking to stop the ball.
I don't even think it's about stopping the ball sometimes. I think it's just like, hey, man, you have an advantage. you should take advantage of it. I don't think he's a black hole on offense or anything like that. Sometimes I think he needs to call his own. He just simply needs to call his own number a little bit more. Like there's stretches of the game where I'm watching Sam Merrill take shots. I'm watching George Niang take all these shots. I'm watching I'm watching Ty Jerome take all these shots.
You say George Niang like Stephen A.
I wouldn't even try to be like, I wouldn't even try to like take a dig at him when I said that. I promise.
No, what's
I promise.
the one dude that Stephen A. used to say?
Tiago Splitter.
Yeah, no,
Tiago Splitter.
It's Tiago Splitter.
Yeah. Like that. I'm not even trying to say it like
Niang.
But I'm watching all these dudes take all these shots. I'm like, hey man, you need to go get the ball. And you need to go score, especially when they're going through droughts on offense. I'm like, hey man, this is the perfect opportunity for you to go get the ball and go make something happen. And I thought in the end of the third quarter, in the beginning of the fourth quarter in last night's game, he did that. Like he did that. He was like, okay, I'm gonna get my shots. I'm gonna help the team. I'm gonna get some baskets here so we can keep this score in a good place. And I just think he needs to play that way the entire game. Like he needs to do it the entire game. I think that's the next step for him in his maturity as a player and his like growth as
is that a
quote
year
unquote
5
start?
Is that a year 5 development though for him? Like on a team where he's not the best player offensively?
And I think that's what makes it tricky too. Is because when Darius has it going like that, you know what I'm saying? Darius needs the ball. You know. Also, Jared Allen
same
is shooting
thing with Donovan.
Yeah, same thing with Donovan. Also, Jared Allen is shooting 80% from the field through 4 games. He had 15 and 15 last night. So it's gonna be one of those weird things where like I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that Evan is getting better. His jump shot, obviously, like him shooting from three, he's clearly a better jump shot shooter, a 3-point shooter than he's been prior. But I think the volume of his shots and the stats that he's gonna have, they're not always gonna match up just because of who he's sharing the floor with and who he plays with on the team. Like some games it's gonna be Darius, a lot of games it's gonna be Donovan, some games it's gonna be Jared Allen who's got it going. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be cognizant of that too.
Now, a lot of people were critical about the Cavs keeping that core 4 together throughout the offseason and not being aggressive and making a move on Garland. Do you think that there's a chance here that the Cavs are going to be vindicated on their patience with these young guys here?
Through 4 games, it looks possible. I want to see them play against better teams. You know what I'm saying? Like they played the Knicks. They're a good team. They won. The good 3 games prior were what? The Raptors. I forget who was. It was the Raptors. The Raptors, the Pistons, and the Wizards. Like no disrespect to those teams, but they're not very good. You know what I'm saying? They play the Lakers tomorrow. I'm going to be real interested to see how they look against LA. I think that's going to be a game that tells me a lot.
No,
it's here. It's in Cleveland. I'll be real excited to see that one.
It's going to be interesting to see where the Cavs go from here. Now we're going to end today's show on another clip of Jameis. And this is Jameis explaining why and what happened during this W clip.
It started a long time ago, and that's because my last name, the first 4 letters of my last name spells out wins.
Yep.
Go and fact check me. It's probably right on Wikipedia. Do y'all remember?
Wait.
If you want to fact check me.
If you want to fact check me.
It's all Wikipedia.
You want to fact check me on how my last name is spelled.
Remember the soup? The alphabet soup.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I always a long time ago, and that's because my last name, the first 4 letters of my last name spells out wins.
Yep.
Go and fact check me. It's probably right on Wikipedia. Do y'all remember the soup? The alphabet soup.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I always just talk about like, hey, we scraping the bowl today. We eating up everything, right? And we only looking for dubs in the alphabet soup. There's a lot of different options out there, but we looking for W's. We eating all the W's in the alphabet soup. Like so, I took the W out the soup. I already had the W ready and prepared.
Yeah.
I think it went left when I started actually eating the W.
Yes, I agree.
And when I ate the real W, and then proceeded to dap up Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
I think that was the worst person to dap up.
It is amazing to see somebody have that level of retrospection over what that is. Like,
Nah, man, extend Jameis.
now,
I'm there.
where it went left.
Extend that man. Please give him a contract extension.
He said, I'm scraping the ball. And I'm like, it kind of makes sense. So I had to W out the ball fresh and ready.
No, bro. Just picture this. Picture this real quick. Hypothetically, the Browns draft Shedeur Sanders and keep Jameis Winston.
I don't think we need that much personality.
Dog, there would be, Shedeur is gonna have commercials and stuff. You just know that's gonna happen. Wherever he gets drafted, he's gonna have a bunch of commercials and stuff like that. Jameis would absolutely be in one of them, and it would be the most hilarious thing.
By the way, would be the grounds of what will be the next largest mega church if Deion Sanders and Jameis Winston have a reason to network.
No, if it happens and they have a commercial, Kevin has to be in the commercial too, just looking just like, oh my God.
Jameis Winston, like there are a number of players that would be a hilarious like connection, like with Jameis Winston. I think what Cam Ward, Incarnate Words is a religious school, right?
Yeah, it sounds
Texas.
like it. Sounds like it to me.
I think so.
I feel like Cam Ward would be a good fit. What I want to see is like, hey man, I don't want this, but I would want to see it on reality TV. Jameis Winston and Quinn Ewers. Like, no. That is a buddy cop film that I want to see.
No, it's not.
The Jameis Winston and Nick Chubb buddy cop. Look, we still got Hard Knocks, Cole.
Oh yeah, we do. It's in the
They've been recording footage of this behind the scenes.
I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch it because you're gonna see the weeks with Deshaun was starting and the weeks with Jameis was starting, and I cannot wait to see the difference.
And knowing how nasty the NFL like to do people, they're gonna have them weeks while Deshaun in there color graded to look more mute. Right, like, and then Jameis gonna come in. It's gonna be like the Wizard of Oz. It's gonna be saturation and color.
Like they're gonna hyper focus on like how everybody else feels after the quarterback change. Don't let them get on a win streak with Jameis. Don't let them get on a win streak.
Think about it like this: we just saw at the beginning of this video them talk about Jameis saying this is one of them games where you just gotta pull it out and let them know who's bigger. Hey dog, if that happens, this shit gonna be on camera. Like,
oh man, this is gonna be so funny. This is gonna be so great.
Jameis Winston, when he's just being Jameis on these pregame huddle things, these like hype circles, he's already a crazy man. Cole, can you imagine what he gonna turn this up to once he realized the world is watching?
Oh man. Oh god.
By the way, did we all I knew the second I saw that pregame interview of Jameis Winston that we was about to get a special game from him when he just showed up.
What did he say?
Unwavering faith.
We gotta find out what did he say, man?
He said unwavering faith, ultimate belief.
It was something else. It was a third thing too.
Unwavering faith, ultimate belief.
Something in the Lord. I think it's something in the Lord. I think it was like, man.
Wait. I could just find this very easily by searching Jameis Winston unwavering faith.
Dependence in the Lord.
Dependence in the Lord. There it is. Yeah. And then she was like, what does that mean? He was like, unwavering faith.
Oh man. Oh, this is the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Look, right after Kyle Hamilton drops a crazy interception, and you can't help but think, Hey, was he on to something? Like,
Amen.
that was the most unwavering faith game of all time. I'm like, yo, dog.
Dependence in the Lord.
Uh-huh. Look, Jameis Winston. What a character, man. One of one. He didn't live up to his draft hype, but you know what? He will be remembered. Hall of Fun. The Hall of Fun for sure. Like,
Absolutely. First ballot Hall of Fun.
oh, yeah. Him, Ryan Fitzpatrick, D-Jax, like Hall of Fun.
Man, I can't believe it. They got to keep, they legitimately have to keep Jameis around for the vibes next year. Like, they got to keep him. You can't let him go.
You can't have Jameis out there and replace him with like Case Keenum or something like that. Like
bridge
the
quarterback.
vibes ain't never gonna feel turned up.
Bridge quarterback for sure. Jameis Winston.
Oh yeah, Jameis Winston. He gonna hold us over for Cooper for Arch Manning? Is it
He holding us over for somebody.
for Dylan? We gonna hold over for Dylan?
Dylan who?
Dylan Raiola.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I was like, what Dylan are you talking about? There's another Dylan in the draft this year. I was like, I don't want nothing to do with that.
No, absolutely not.
You don't do all this to get Cade Klubnik. Okay.
Hey, they might take Cade Klubnik though. Later on.
Third, fourth round. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. That's not the next guy. This is another dude that they drafted, right? But like when it comes to that first round, who knows who they take? Who knows who they take? But Jameis Winston, I don't know if he's the perfect mentor, but I sure want to see what that looks like. Like, out of pure curiosity. 100%. You got a young guy there. He trying to teach this young guy everything. You know how impressionable the youth is. Like, yeah, you ever look up the old Jameis Winston controversies, the ones that aren't serious, right? Like, he got arrested for hunting squirrels with a BB gun at college because they thought he had an AR-15 on him.
What?
Yeah, you ain't never heard that one?
I never heard that one.
The one where he stole juice from Burger King and they snitched on him. I saw that one. I remember people made a big deal about that one when it happened. I remember thinking, I do that shit all the time. What the fuck are anybody talking about? Like, I still do it all the time. Can I get a cup of water? I mean to get a cup of water, but shit, if you got something I like at that drink fountain, I'm gonna try it. Don't be one of them places that leave their lemonade, right? They free meal drinks out there. Yeah, bro, I'm about to try that blueberry lemonade, whatever you got up there. Like, shout out to all my people who steal from the restaurants when they give you a water cup. You know, don't even try to hide it. You be with a clear ass water cup with a blue drink. Like,
we shot off theft. We shot off theft on the pod.
Yeah, man, that's our way to fight back as consumers to an unjust system. You know, what, a quarter a cent at a time. Like,
you know, I'm with it.
Say, Curtis, are you down with this agenda? Or you want to? Oh my God, Curtis, tell on you when you get something in your water cup. Curtis, you be telling on folks?
No, that ain't it. That ain't it at all. If I saw someone do it, I'm like, oh, they want to try a new drink. I'm like, I'm gonna let them be. And I'm just going about my business.
I'm gonna let them be. You always let them be, Curtis.
Wow, was you thinking about not letting them be? Why'd you have to make a decision? Why'd you have to make a decision there, Curtis? I never thought about turning somebody in. Like, wow.
You know if you over there signing papers, Curtis is public record, right? You know we can look that up.
Yeah, wow. Curtis got caught snitching.
I don't even snitch, man. Stop it. Don't do that.
He's like, yeah, man. I know what cherry Coke look like.
Curtis, that don't look like water to me.
See, now when they got to change out the box because you used all the syrup, you weren't even supposed to use it. Wow. So Curtis, you don't steal drinks from the fountain when you get a water cup?
I mean, I did it a couple times, but then I'm like, I got enough money now. Somebody will just, get my own drink. But I did it a couple times.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
If we go down, you going down too, Curtis.
The couch is busted. We got you, you son of a bitch.
Oh man. Oh, dude.
I ain't gonna lie though. I always steal the lemonade if you leave it out because I'm like, why you got it out if you don't want me to steal it? Like if you really cared this much, you would put the effort in to do it yourself. Honestly, I feel that way about most of the time. We be asked to do somebody else's job while we be buying food. Like self-checkout, the line too long at self-checkout. I'm not sure everything hits the scanner.
No, I don't do that.
You don't do that? I ain't gonna lie, I don't do it as much anymore because I have a job and I can afford things. But yeah, one time I walked out that bitch with the vacuum cleaner. Like,
how?
Wow.
Just never scanned it, walked out.
They ask no questions?
They just let
Didn't
you
even
walk
notice it.
out.
Yeah. It was at the Walmart out there, and I don't want to give up too much information. But
Is Q a klepto?
I'm not a thief. I just took because they made me wait 10 minutes in line at the self-checkout. And I was just sitting there like, I'm leaving here with something, bro, because y'all out here not wanting to spend an extra person on the shift so you can open up all the self-checkout machines. You got me out here waiting in a fucking Walmart line this long. I'm leaving here with something. I'm about to forget to scan this vacuum cleaner. I went doop, 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 doop. Oh, didn't scan it. Pushed it through. Nobody noticed because they had nobody working, Cole. That's their fault. They wanted to save money on labor. Well, that's what it cost you. $40 vacuum.
You wouldn't even get a good vacuum. You took the $40 joke.
Because I was going to buy it at first. Like,
Let me get the good.
hey, I was going to buy it at first.
If you
I was going to buy it at first.
You got to go higher than that. Not $40 vacuum.
I can't go back and get it. I wasn't planning on stealing the vacuum cleaner. It's just once I went in to pay for it and they made me wait forever, I was like, you know what? Unacceptable. Well, I'm going to do yell at the manager. That's going to make me stay at the Walmart longer. But you know what I could get my restitution on? That $40 vacuum. I feel like that was a fair trade.
All right, man. All right. It's $40 vacuum.
$40 back.
Hey,
What
bro,
Walmart?
if you
What
don't want it
Walmart
to
was
happen,
this at? Was this a Walmart in Cleveland or was this a Walmart somewhere else?
I am not saying I did it at this Walmart, but if I did, it was at the South Euclid one.
Okay. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, look, man, if they want to hire enough people to be able to make sure that that doesn't happen and make sure that the flow of customers goes in and out smoothly, then this doesn't happen. But if they don't want to hire enough people, want to make me wait in these long ass lines, man, like people going to start stealing if you make a wait for a line. People do this shit all the time in the suburbs too, by the way. Like,
Yeah, they do. 100%.
I learned this shit from them, by the way. Like, this isn't something I learned growing up in Cleveland. This is something I learned in college. Okay. Like, I was at a Dick's Sporting Goods first time I saw that happen. He was like, yeah, I'm just going to walk through. They don't want to hire enough. I'm walking through. I'm like, what? He walked out. Like, I was like, oh, I guess
Fair
that's
enough.
a sufficient way to combat you not wanting to hire enough labor. See, it's pro labor at the end of the day, Cole. I don't know why you're mad at it.
I'll never have an issue being pro labor. Never have an issue with that.
That is a lesson that I learned from the upper middle class folks I went to school with. Okay, so
Yeah, if you want to, just fun fact, if you want to look at who shoplifts the most, who gets caught and arrested for shoplifting the most, not who you would think.
oh yeah.
At least not who they tell you it is.
Never what you think it is, right? Like it ain't never. It's just like, man, I wasn't trying to wait in line. And look, the only times as an adult I've ever thought to shoplift, it's not because I couldn't afford something. It's because I'm not trying to wait 20 minutes to check out. Like that's crazy. Like I got shit to do. Like I need to go, but I also need this thing I came here for. Saw facts. What you about to do? Like,
Hey man, it is what it is.
I don't do it anymore. But
It's not like they gonna stop. It's not like they gonna stop you even if you was doing it still. Like they're not gonna stop you.
Like, I'm too old to be caught up and get arrested over some petty theft. Like I'm just too old for it now. Like in my teens? Like, no, nobody care if you get arrested in your teens for some petty theft. Like, I'm not encouraging that anybody does this, by the way. Y'all have a great day.
Had to sneak that in at the end real quick.
Yeah. I'm not encouraging that anybody does this, by the way. We were talking about what you would do in a video game.
Just in case the fans is watching.
Just in case somebody blame this shit on me, they get caught. I'm like, nah, I did not tell you to do this. Okay. Like, this is not legal advice. I'm just sharing a personal story that may or may not be true, depending on who's listening. But I want to thank everybody for coming in today, watching the show. Kobe, you got anything to say before we let people go?
Appreciate everybody checking out Q and Co. Make sure y'all like this. Make sure y'all follow us and subscribe to the channel. We got some more stuff coming this week. I was traveling, so we was a little busy. We was both a little busy last week, but we got something coming this week for y'all.
And by the way, those of you guys who are watching this for the first time, because it's accidentally live on my channel, go over to Q and Co and subscribe, because that's where this podcast is going to live. If you're looking for the replay, it's only going to be on the Q and Co channel. I'm going to delete the replay from the main channel is the second this ends. So if you want to go check the replay, you want to go watch this again, you want to go share this, go to the Q and Co channel, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like. Did we get to super chats? Oh my God.
We got super chats.
Yeah, we got some. Yeah, we got a couple.
We got super chats, y'all. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Curtis.
I'm like,
Curtis
trying to steal the super chats.
oh, we got a couple. We got a couple. We got about 8. We can go through them. First one's from Semi Football. He says, "I'm not convinced by the Steelers. They are the same exact team they have been the past 4 or 5 seasons still."
I mean, yeah, you know what that is. They go win 10 games. They go make the playoffs.
Nah, I think they're better. I think they're better this year.
You do?
Yeah, I think they're better. I think they're a better team. I think there's a chance they win a playoff game this year.
Are we sure? Are we really sure?
Who else is in the AFC? Like, it ain't anybody in the AFC can get beat this year. Like,
the only team I feel good about. Only team I feel good about in the AFC is the Chiefs, because they're the Chiefs.
Like, if they get the if they get the 5 seed and they play what the AFC, well, who's going to be the worst division winner this year?
I don't know. Maybe
the AFC East.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, they would still play Buffalo though. Probably.
Okay, there was this Buffalo, Baltimore, and then Houston. I think Houston's gettable by anybody.
Kansas City. I think Kansas City.
Kansas City, if it wasn't for Pat Mahomes, I'd be talking about how gettable they were. And then we just saw Baltimore is clearly gettable.
Mm-hmm. That defense is not good.
Yeah. I think every team, but even Buffalo's gettable. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won a playoff game.
Yeah, I can see it.
Last year, I would have been shocked. Last year, I was like, that's clearly not a team that's good enough to win a playoff game. This year, nah, they could win one. They're a good team.
Yeah, all right. We got a second super chat from Alkaline. Jameis has a future as a mega church pastor after he retires. Did you hear him shout out Eminem by saying there's a white boy in Detroit special?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was a crazy way to throw the Eminem.
Listen, Jameis got a career doing something in front of a microphone after he's done playing football. Something.
Let me tell you, I'm so nervous about what that's going to look like, but I'm gonna just enjoy what it is now.
You know what I think it's gonna be? You watch the 520 You watch the 520 podcast, right? With Jeff Teague.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the football version of that.
Where he just telling stories.
He's just telling stories, and then he just have people on to tell stories. And yeah, I can see that 100%.
What I need him to do is like bounce around like 4 more teams before he retires, just so he can have like a nice rotation of like different people he's played with. But I don't know, Jameis. I don't know if Jameis gonna be like a Jeff Teague type dude. Like Jameis gonna talk about himself a lot, and a lot of what Jeff Teague be talking about is other people. There's also a level of humility in Jeff Teague that I don't think Jameis is gonna have. So I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think Jameis probably has a career kind of like Michael Irvin, where like
I can see that.
He's on sports debate shows every once in a while if he wants to, but he's really gonna be one of them dudes at his alma mater, really getting happy when Florida State start winning. Like,
I can see that.
because he's also the last guy on the national championship team, right? He's the last guy to have won a national championship at Florida State, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like kind of like a mascot in that way, where it's like, oh yeah, Jameis here. That's the semblance of when we were great. Last time we were great, he's gonna be out there, or he's gonna be a coach. Don't underestimate that.
I can see it.
He'd be a great college coach. A great college coach. Because he has good personality, good relationships with people within the league. He could get good offensive coordinators to work with them. It's going to be interesting the philosophy that he has. But yeah, he'd be a pretty good college coach if he's coaching somewhere that doesn't have high expectations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like he could be a great coach for what's a good school that doesn't have high expectations consistently, like South Carolina.
Okay. I see where you're going.
NC State, like one of those schools. It's like, yeah, they're always decent, but they ain't great. Jameis get a couple great seasons out of you. It'd be fun. I think that's definitely somewhere in the Sun Belt too. Like, definitely somewhere in the Sun Belt. We got another one.
Yeah, we got another one. Jameis definitely sat down and wrote the graduation speech with a feather pen and ink.
Yeah.
I bet he was nervous before he gave that speech too.
He was definitely like rehearsing it. He's like, hey, that sound good. That sound all right.
Like he was patting his head before he got on. We are here. Like, I bet he took that stuff so seriously. Like, and that's what makes Jameis. He is earnest to a fault.
All right, next super chat is from Ray Rags. It's overlooked that Michigan forfeited the game against Ohio State in 2020. If they played that game, it's likely he gets fired after his worst season. After his worst team in Michigan gets destroyed again in his 0-6. He's talking about khaki pants Harbaugh. Because I do remember that Michigan team during COVID, they were pretty bad. And all it took was him, I think, having his salary changed and basically a bunch of super seniors coming back to basically save whatever that legacy was at.
Yeah, man. He lose to the Browns on Sunday. It's gonna be funny.
Mike Vrabel gonna be on the sideline that week trying to prove a point. Like, we know the job he actually wants. Like,
let me tell you, this ain't Ryan Day.
He gonna refuse to shake his hand. It ain't even like it's expected. Like,
yeah, you better get used to this.
We also gotta talk about, like, why don't nobody like Jim Harbaugh that ever like interacts with them frequently? Like,
I don't know. He just gives off weird vibes. But he
did Jim punch him in the chest?
Didn't Jim Schwartz try to fight him?
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember that.
Oh, so you telling me right now Jim Schwartz is in the lab right now? He let it know. Greg, you will not get beat today. Okay. Don't you come here and celebrate it. You let that khaki pant mother.
It means just a little bit more to me this week. That's all I'm saying.
He gonna be on that sideline. You know, when it be something to the coaches extra, like the coaches usually be standing up like this, but no, he gonna be on that boy like this whole game, locked in, calling plays, like still setting up like he about to play linebacker the whole game, like he just locked in. That's gonna be hilarious. That's gonna be hilarious. I bet he gonna be talking to Kevin the whole time because Kevin don't do nothing on the sideline no more during the games, at least. Like Kevin just sitting there like, okay, don't do that. Let's make sure Jameis doesn't throw an interception here.
We got a super chat from Soul Train asking, will they trade a good pick to move Watson later? I have some bad news for people. Deshaun Watson's football career with the Browns and in the NFL is over with. There is no doubt that man will not be playing a single down in the NFL anymore.
Brother, you compare the number 1 overall pick with Deshaun Watson and nobody's taking it.
No. For what?
Like no one wants him. His career is over with. And I see people, and I see that specific group of people on Twitter. We're not gonna name drop them, but we're not gonna name drop them or call them names. But they're saying, "Oh, wait till Deshaun comes back." I'm like, brother, he's done here.
There have people saying that.
Yeah,
There's a couple people saying that, unfortunately.
Okay, I have not seen that on my timeline. Anybody being like, "Wait," I guess I only like really interact with people I find to be sane. But yeah, I don't think that's the same thing to say as Deshaun Watson is like gonna come back and after tearing his Achilles, after looking cooked. He tore his Achilles after he looked cooked.
It's over. It's over.
Yeah, it's over, man.
It's
over with. It's more of a question about logistics and paperwork than it is about like that. And honestly, if he fades out as an injured player, that's better for the Browns because they get to spread that cap hit out as long as they want. So yeah, this thing's done. This thing is over with. It's a wrap, man. Like Deshaun is not playing quarterback. I'd be very surprised if Deshaun like ends up being somebody's starter. Like maybe he plays in a game because he sits around as a backup for a while, but as a starter for the Browns again, like the starter, I doubt we do that.
Mm-mm.
He's at least going to be in the competition.
Yeah, fair. And we got this last one from Iceman the Boss. This is for you, Q. Hey, Q, I know you peep the esports. I'm curious if you checked out the Rocket League esports. RLCS, I think it's the best and most like traditional sports.
I might have misled people. They asked me if I would rather watch esports or anime, and I said esports. That doesn't mean I watch esports. Like, I'm just aware of esports existence. I know Rocket League's a big deal. I'm always y'all any good at Rocket League?
I've never played it.
I haven't played Rocket League since I was like my senior year of college, and then I just stopped playing it. I was decent.
I'm surprised it's still around.
There's one video game I plan on playing, and it comes out in 2 days. And that's
What's that?
Dragon Age.
Oh.
Is that one of the Bethesda games?
No, it's people who made Mass Effect. Why can't I think of them right now?
Oh. Well, it used to be EA. Well, what are they called now?
No, that's not. It's not.
It's not Bethesda. No. Bethesda's Fallout.
Bethesda's Fallout.
Yeah, it's. Don't tell us. Hold on. I want to remember. It is Nordic. No.
Nordic.
It's. I think I know it. BioWare. It's BioWare.
BioWare.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
They made The Witcher, right?
No, BioWare made. They did Mass Effect, Jade Empire, the Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars. But yeah, that's what they did.
You be playing RPGs, Cole?
Yeah, all the time.
Mm-hmm. See, I be telling my girl all the time, you lucky I don't play them games the girlfriends hate. Like them time consuming ones.
No, my girl plays the same games. My girl plays the same games.
Your girl is a gamer, so y'all good. Y'all can play together. I cannot be out here playing no RPG no more or first person shooter. I don't know how people play 2K as much as they play 2K.
I only play 2K like once a day. I can't finish Cyberpunk right now. I just can't. I got too much stuff I got to get done.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
getting old.
It was like 4 people in chat who was like, BioWare, it's Bio.
Are we good with super chats?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, see, I got enough time as a gamer to like pop on, play a couple games of Dynasty, pop out. And I spend the whole rest of the day feeling guilty that I spent that much time playing video games. That's what big.
No, I'm gonna play Dragon Age all day when it comes out. Like I'm not.
That's what I did with college football. When that shit came out, I cleared out 4 days. Like,
Like I already told my bosses exactly what it was. I was like, do not message me. Like, do not know. I played this game.
I got to like 2032 on Dynasty in like those 4 days. And then since like those first 4 days the game has come out, I think I progressed like 2 seasons in my dynasties. Like, yeah. So I gotta play them like every week. I get like time for like a game or two.
Nah, man.
Curtis, what you playing?
What you playing, Curtis?
Well, I'm playing that new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I got to get good at that.
Is it fire?
It's better than I thought it would. It's a little bit of adaptation period.
All right, well, we ran out of time here, y'all. Y'all have a great day. Y'all have a great day, man. Appreciate y'all for joining Q and Code. Again, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, especially if you're watching from the Q and Code channel. If you're first time watching and you're watching from the Quincy Carrier channel, make sure you jump over to the Q and Code channel and check that out. But y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.